Hi everyone, it's Justine. Today's video is a review of the runway trends in fashion for fall/winter 2022 and 2023. I do a video like this every season, where I go through multiple thousand of outfits, of runway looks. I try to find similarities, and I present the results to you in the form of curated trend boards, showing you, to the best of my abilities, what the biggest trends of the season are and how to make them work also in real life with a real life wardrobe, if that makes sense. The boards can always be downloaded for free on my website. I will give you the link at the end of the video. Let's start with the first trend, which is about highlighting the waist. Remember, we're coming out of the summer that was full of crop tops and naked bellies. Now we're moving on to winter, aka we kind of need more coverage. But we're still focusing on the waist, and we're getting a ton of options to do just that. The first option is to belt it. At Givenchy, it's a tiny tone-on-tone belt, so minimal that you can only see the buckle almost. At Balmain, the belt is also worn tone-on-tone, but it's much more of a statement, both on the white and on the black outfit. On the all-black outfit, they even made the hardware of the belt match the zipper of the garment worn underneath. Very thought through. Alaya's belt is looking almost like a short corset, very tightly fastened, matches the shoes and contrasts with the white dress. At Tory Burch, the belt is asymmetric and worn over a blazer. It looks a bit equestrian almost, doesn't it? I love this trend because I think a belt is such an easy accessory that you can buy and add to any existing outfit or any wardrobe at all. And the outfits that you saw in the board were doing exactly that. They are being added on top, and they are almost even the centerpiece of the entire outfit. But there are also more advanced ways of highlighting your waist. Let's have a look. At Dior, the waist seam does the job graphically. Above it, you have see-through lace, and underneath it, several layers which make it opaque. Here, the contrast is really in the texture and is materialized by that seam. Here, the contrast is in the texture. At McQueen, the waistline is marked by a zipper, which is part of the design, and which you could zip or partly unzip to get different variations. Fendi is showing a belt that is half apron, almost tone-on-tone, but not quite, because the pattern is indeed different, and the color also, if you can see it. And here what is attracting the eye is in fact the golden hardware. Balmain is playing with the image of a warrior girl, Star Wars-like the old movies, where the waistline is exactly where the breastplate lands. Notice that the shape of the breastplate also participates in making the model look more like an hourglass with a tiny waist. Same optical illusion at Gucci, where this sort of red corset is narrower than the model and shaped as an upside down triangle. So as you can see on the first board, the belt was really added on top of the outfit to accessorize it, whereas on the second board, highlighting the waist is practically part of the design itself. Our next trend is about minimalism, as in sort of 90s minimalist, but also with a preppy, buttoned up side to it. Let me explain. This Bottega Veneta look sums it up pretty well. Monochromatic, not a show of color, neutral white shoes paired with it, and just a hint of gold in the accessories, both the hardware of the bag and the earrings. Tucked in collared shirt, white trousers, the silhouette is loose, but fitted, and really on point. It doesn't look casual. Ralph Lauren showed a masculine take on the preppy look, with shoes that are reminiscent of bowling shoes, even though they're not. White shirt under a logo sweater, very classic. Structured handbag in a matching color. Gucci is blurring the lines between genders. Black tie and oversized menswear blazer at the top. Statement skirt with a slit and high-heeled boots at the bottom. I also like this Prada detail. The sweater is extremely minimal, both in design and in color. But underneath it, it's a technical turtleneck instead of a shirt, and it's paired with a satin and lace very feminine skirt. The look is simple, but it's definitely not basic. Miu Miu took the miniskirt that they designed this summer, and that became the it piece of the season. It was on my previous board last season. And they simply lengthened it for winter. They went schoolgirl uniform all the way. Miu Miu is the younger sister of Prada, targeted at younger customers, so that makes sense. We'll see if that works. And this black Alaya blazer might be the best fitted blazer I've ever seen. It's minimal, it's impeccably tailored, paired with a crisp white garment. I always find blazers such a tough thing to wear. They rarely fit unless you have it practically tailored to your individual body. But this one looks fabulous on the model, doesn't it? The next trend is great for you if you warm tone, because it's practically about a color palette and about knits. This Chloe sweater has the perfect color palette to feel cozy in winter in the warm tones, and the necklace and the handbag color match it. Ha! Brilliant. At Hetero, the emphasis is put on the fringy trimmings, and here again the core piece is that knitted belt, thanks to stronger colors than the pants, and also to its knitted pattern that is really attracting the attention. The Altuzarra dress makes you think of tie-dye techniques, but it's actually a print. Very bohemian for an Altuzarra design. Missoni, they are the champions of tic-tac patterns. It's their signature pattern. Here they presented a subtle version of it. These pants could go with a white tank top, a black chunky knit, or anything in between. It's quite versatile, really. And I'm finishing up this earth palette with Hermès, where the print is more graphic, more structured, but overall, it's still a very warm brown look from head to toe. Then we have another trend, obviously contrasting a lot with the trend that you just saw. Neon colors that are so bright that they could almost be virtual. The Valentino show consisted mostly of looks in this color, and everything that wasn't all fuchsia was all black, including the footwear, gloves, handbag, as shown here in the detail photo. Everything was fuchsia, even the stage design. And this particular color that is so bright was on other runways too. The photo in the center is Dolce & Gabbana. She could be a cyborg living in an augmented reality world. Stella McCartney went for full color looks too, which is unusual for her, so it really is a thing this season. Pucci combined the brightest blue with other primary colors. Total looks like this were surprisingly many, especially for a fall-winter season. Now you might object, lol, I'm not gonna start wearing all fuchsia, let's be realistic. Okay, but you could use this kind of bright color in combination with other things. Examples. Now we're looking at the colors rather than the outfits. You could do bright orange plus lighter orange or yellow, like at Max Mara. You could use a bright color as part of the pattern. Versace is showing here not one but two patterns, which both use the same bright pink, tuning it down with red or with red and black. Bottega Veneta paired this violet skirt, kind of the same hue as at Stella McCartney, if you remember, with the calming brown knit of a very simple design. Chanel and Miu Miu kept the bright colors in the accessory department, but at Chanel, the bag is pink and the coat is a softer pink, so it creates a harmony and it makes the bright handbag easier on the eye. So you see that there are ways of wearing bright colors without transforming yourself into a pink cyborg, because I can see how that wouldn't be everybody's taste. When I see this trend, I also think, the metaverse and this augmented reality thing, all those technological evolutions are starting to influence fashion. Digital worlds, social media, TikTok, epitome of this direction. If you want to be visible on social media, if you want people to stop scrolling and not scroll past you, you have to be extremely bold and loud, and fashion helps you do exactly that. What you wear is very visual. It can be quietly extremely loud. If there is one type of shoe that dominated the runways the entire season, it's the boot. Not a fancy boot, not a 10 centimeter high heel boot, not a crazy innovative material, just a regular boot. Sturdy, comfortable, meant for walking. There are mainly two options. The biker boot landing above the calf, like at Margiela. It can be black on black, or brown on reddish brown, like at Miu Miu, or reddish brown on black, like at Chloe. You get the idea. The boots are not contrasting with the pants or whatever you're wearing as a bottom. They rather elongate the leg while staying within a color palette that is very close. And the other option is closer to a combat boot, looking at Armani and Dior, worn with a shorter skirt so the legs really remain visible. It has metal hardware, lace up, rounded around the toes. It doesn't hide under long trousers. The boot really is in display here. Final boot option for people who want the longer legs but not the heels, wearing platforms, as seen as Sakai and many others this season. If you enjoyed this video, thumbs up. Thank you very much. And do also leave me a comment saying which trend is your favorite and why. Now I have 2 more things to tell you to make this review complete and to give you some context, most importantly. First off, the outfits that you saw in this video were presented back in February for this winter. February is before the geopolitical events and also the climate-related events that unfolded later this year. You know what I'm talking about. So if in case you're wondering why am I not seeing any of that here, that's because it happened too early. Those huge things are going to be reflected in the designer's work for sure, because they don't live in a vacuum. But this will happen next season, not this one. And second thing, which I mentioned earlier, you can download the boards that you saw in this video on my website. The address for it is justineleconte.com/trends FW22, as in trends for winter 22. Very easy. And before you go do that, if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe to it and you'll get my future videos. Until the next one, take care. Bye.